If you're a glutton for punishment with a Game Pass membership, or just looking for another challenge, then here are some brutally hard games for you to conquer and overcome. They're all on Game Pass too, so no excuses not to give them a go. And let us know what your hardest games in the comments are down below. Henry, take it away.
Let's kick it off with the classic, shall we? If the Ninja Gaiden Master Collection has taught us anything, it's that being a ninja requires a whole lot more than just buying a choice black outfit and walking around on your tippy toes. And if you still need some convincing, well, this is what the game looks like on the hardest difficulty. All three of these third-person actioners are punishingly hard thanks to their lightning-fast combat and the relentless sea of absolutely ruthless enemies that they love chucking at the player. The boss fights are truly epic, but these are also the sort of games where a regular grunt can just take you out in a flash if you're stupid enough to let your guard down. The Ninja Gaiden games have become famous for their unforgiving difficulty, and you're gonna find out just how deserved that reputation is if you spend even a few minutes with Sigma, Sigma 2, or Razor's Edge. But then again, they do say that steel sharpens steel, and there's no better place to work on your skills than the Master Collection. Just, best of luck, I suppose.
Ninja Gaiden is tough because you have to think in terms of split seconds. Crusader Kings 3 is tough because you have to think in terms of centuries. Available on both PC and console, the most recent entry in this gossipy grand strategy series lets the player pick a country to rule and begin the usual business of forging alliances, fighting enemies, and making sure there's enough gold in the coffers. But it's not just that original monarch that players take control of. When their character dies, they'll move on to their heir in an attempt to build a dynasty that lasts through the ages. An enemy you make now could come back to haunt your grandson, while that illegitimate child you forgot about could lead to someone challenging your right to the throne in 100 years' time. It's like a giant game of chess, only with a lot more backstabbing and adultery.
Now for Descenders, which is a game about riding a bike down the side of a mountain as fast as possible, which, much like in real life, is quite difficult. Yeah, who knew? And just to make things even trickier, Descenders actually uses procedural generation so that you never know what combination of ramps, jumps, and other obstacles that your next run will have you navigating. Plus, there are no training wheels here either. If you wipe out enough, it will kill your run and you'll have to start all over again. Super frustrating, but I have to admit, it's pretty rewarding when you finally nail it. And honestly, knowing that your mistakes will be harshly punished actually makes things tense in a way that's kind of exhilarating and makes your eventual triumphs all the sweeter. And in many ways, Descenders actually feels a little bit like a Souls-like, except you're probably not going to kill the mountain with a massive sword.
Playing Spider Heck is a bit of a trade-off. On the one hand, you get a cool laser sword to swing around. On the other, you're just like a little itsy bitsy spider who is incredibly easy to squish. This physics-based brawler is a strictly one hit and you're dead affair, which is especially tough when you see how frantically fast it is. The only way to stay alive here is to take full advantage of your spidery skills, spitting out webs and swinging about like Peter Parker after one too many energy drinks. Each arena has its own variables too, throwing all sorts of added danger into the mix. But if nothing else, the option for both local and online co-op means that you won't have to face these spidery horrors alone.
This next game is especially important to me because it helped me realise that the term Souls-like means that you're about to get slapped up and down the place, and the place in this game being the entire galaxy. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order takes that intense third-person melee combat of a classic Souls game and adds in all those wonderful lightsaber sound effects, force abilities, and tons of acrobatics. And since you probably don't already have force powers of your own to rely on, don't worry, you'll grow into them, you're probably going to need expert timing to deflect all of the blaster shots and zap sticks that are going to be coming your way. Naturally, Fallen Order also features some truly fearsome boss fights. Ogdo Bogdo, Malikos, the Ninth Sister, all of them had me tearing my hair out on Grandmaster difficulty, but mate, did it feel so sweet to finally defeat them. And sure, nothing about Cal Kestis' journey is easy, but at least Game Pass Ultimate members can enjoy that intergalactic action without spending any extra money thanks to EA Play.
A surprise day one drop onto Game Pass, Hi-Fi Rush is a rhythm action game with a vibrant art style and a soundtrack loaded with bangers. And if you're looking for a serious challenge, it's got you covered on that one too. Hi-Fi Rush is super accessible thanks to a variety of difficulty options and other aids that mean anyone can get into the groove with it. You'll need a perfect sense of rhythm if you want to hack it on the higher levels. In fact, only 1% of the players tracked by True Achievements have managed to complete every level on Very Hard. And yeah, I'm not in that. And it's not just about completing the main campaign either. Arcade Challenge Mode gives players a chance to really test their skills, while there are all kinds of gnarly achievements to shoot for as well.
Roguelites actually bring a whole different sort of difficulty to the table by making dying over and over and over and over and over again an essential part of the game itself, and few titles demand that you learn by failing more than Dead Cells. This Metroidvania-style action platformer has players dashing and slashing their way through a huge interconnected world, which also happens to look absolutely gorgeous. Along the way, you'll also encounter plenty of ferocious enemies and not a single checkpoint. Yeah, so be prepared to wind up back where you started quite often. But you know what? It's slick Souls-like combat, stylish visuals, and about 150 different weapons on offer mean that Dead Cells makes going around in circles an incredibly satisfying experience.
Taking on an army of bloodthirsty demons is every bit as challenging as it sounds in Doom Eternal. The latest entry in the granddaddy of all FPS series will put even the most seasoned shooter fan skills to the test, with huge hordes of aggressive enemies that will swarm the player in seconds if they don't have light feet and nimble trigger fingers. And even then, they can still expect a lot of their adventures to end in, well, doom. But the regular experience is nothing compared to Ultra Nightmare mode, which gives players that one single solitary life to make it through the entire thing, so good luck with that.
Right, this one's definitely going to bug you. It's Hollow Knight. This bug-based side-scroller combines more of that Metroidvania-style exploration that we loved in Dead Cells with more of that fast and fluid combat that we loved in Dead Cells. Nice. There are over 130 different enemies creeping and crawling their way through the game's gorgeously painted levels, each presenting their own sorts of unique challenge, and you know what? The game is pretty unsparing when it comes to throwing deadly new bad guys at you, so, you know, you'll be entertained for quite a while. However, like all good Souls-likes, Hollow Knight can be super hard, but never unfair. Just stay patient, learn each new foe's moves, and you'll be dancing on their tiny graves in no time. And if you can make it through this insectoid extravaganza, the sequel is coming day one to Game Pass. You're welcome.
Game Pass finished 2023 with a flourish as both Remnant games came storming onto the service, opening players up to a whole multiverse of pain. In a brutal bit of genre blending, Remnant takes the high-octane third-person shooting of a Gears game and mashes it with the unforgiving mechanics of a Souls-like. Not only that, but its many hellish dimensions are dynamically generated so that there's always something new waiting to tear you limb from limb. The good news is that you can haul a buddy into each hellish new world with you thanks to Remnant's online co-op, so you'll have someone to watch your back, even if it is only to see the giant monster sinking its fangs into you.
So by now, you've got a whole bunch of crushing new challenges to take on, and we've probably got a bunch of people in the comments saying, oh, this list is actually too easy. So my challenge to them is to tell us what games are even harder than this list. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Bye!